When you're about to have a tough conversation with someone, what matters most is not the response to what you say, but rather the directness, the honesty, the transparency, and the vulnerability with which you say it. At the end of the day, so often we avoid having tough conversations because we are afraid of how the other person is going to respond. We worry that they're going to get defensive or shut down or get angry or not have as good of a friendship with us or judge us or think poorly of us. And we get very wrapped up in, gosh, I don't think the person's going to like this, or I don't think this conversation is going to go well. And because of that worry, that fear over the other person's reaction, we hold off on saying things that really need to be said. You do not need to judge the success of your conversation, your tough conversation you're about to have, on the other person's reaction. You can judge the success on the conversation based on what you put into it, how hard you tried to be transparent and authentic and honest and direct and vulnerable. If you know you did your very, very best and your intentions and heart are in the right place and you truly are wanting to improve a situation or a relationship, make something better, help it grow and develop, be honest about where you're at and your feelings, for the sake of the betterment of you, the other person, or the both of you, then you are doing a great job in having that conversation. It does not matter how the other person responds. You cannot control them. It is not up to you to control or choose their response. It's up to them. And so often it seems like we either avoid having a tough conversation or we look at a tough conversation that we did have where the other person didn't respond well, and we basically say, if the other person was angry or didn't react well, then that would have been or will be or is or was a failure. And that's not true at all. Again, if you gave it your all, you challenged yourself, you put yourself in an uncomfortable position, you were honest, direct, and transparent, you did your very best, then that conversation is a success. And potentially it's not going to help your relationship with the other person right now, here in the present. But a few things happen after having a conversation like that. Number one, you get to practice the skill of having tough conversations. And it is a skill. It is something we can get better at. It's not a talent where it's inherent and we either have it or we don't. It's something that we can cultivate by doing it again and again. So we get better at having tough, truthful, honest conversations, which we're going to need, especially if we're in positions of leadership, or if we've got a family. You're going to have those skills to work through some tough moments with people. And so it's good to be getting better. Number two, you get to learn something about the other person, the person that didn't respond well and was aggressive or defensive or attacked you back or just didn't want to listen, wasn't able to be self-aware or humble enough to say, okay, I'll think about what you said. I'll really give that some thought. You now know where you stand with them. You've learned something about them, and that information can be useful. Potentially you move on from them. It's a friend of yours or a boss or some sort of situation where you have the ability to leave that and look for a better companion. And you get to say, okay, yeah, I want to actually have friends that are willing to hear my thoughts and don't mind kind of going through some conflict or a difference of opinion. And now I know that, and so I know how much I can let them in or share my life with them in the future, or even do I want to be present. And so those are really valuable things that come out of the conversation, regardless of what the other side does. And I advise you, as I've advised several of my clients over the last few weeks, to focus on the part of the conversation you can control. And what's that? It's your part. You never are doing the wrong thing by being honest, direct, straightforward. As Martin Luther King said, it's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And it's always the right thing to be honest and truthful and tell people really what's on your heart. And so if you're preparing to have a conversation like that, or if you have just gone through one and don't feel like it went well, remember this. Remember your side of it and choose to feel proud over the very tough, difficult thing you did for the sake of betterment, even if it didn't quite have the outcome you were looking for. With that, everybody make a great day.